Do I have an amazing video for you today? Well, specifically if you use NEEWER lights. If you don't, well, laters. For the last bunch of times, I have been trying to set up lights that I can control with both controllers like Touch Portal and Stream Deck, or have automated to react to events by using Streamer.Bot, and holy did I finally get that done. I'm like hella pumped, seriously. Through a lot of hard work from Taburineagle and some testing and working things out on my end, there's now a way to control NEEWER, Bluetooth, and infinity lights using your Stream and Stream controllers. If that interests you, stick around. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. P.S. Your PC needs to have Bluetooth for this to work. I was talking about how for years I had wanted to set up RGB lights that could be controlled by stream events, channel point rewards, and other things, but all I have for wireless RGBW lights are these NEEWER light wands that I use for photography. Well, a fantastic member of the community that goes by the handle DadBodNerd, go check him out, especially if you're into Star Citizen. I've left a link to his Twitch channel in the description below. The bot that is Dad has been just an all-around great guy and decided to go the extra mile when I was having that conversation and sent me a link to this Python script on GitHub to control NEEWER lights using a GUI and even an HTTP server. So I immediately ventured to figure this marvel out and get my lights set up for an amazing streaming experience I had only ever dreamed of. It was a long journey with lots of back and forth between myself and the creator, mostly due to user error on my part, but also some broken functionality catches and fixes along the way. And finally, here we are, the finish line. As I stated in the title, the beginning of this video, and again right now, this only works with NEEWER lights. But hey, you can get some pretty great NEEWER lights for pretty cheap compared to other brands out there. Okay, without further babbling, let's get into setting this up. First thing you need to do is make sure you have Bluetooth turned on your computer, and then follow the link in the description below to the GitHub page where you can download the latest commit for the script. Extract the contents of the zip to a location of your choosing on your PC, and then once you have that done, punch me in the face for waiting until right now to tell you that this whole thing is written in Python and you're going to need to do some code things. Sorry. So I suppose I should start at the beginning. This whole thing runs through Python, and you're going to need between either Python 3.8 and 3.10. I shall leave a link to 3.10 in the description below. When you install Python, tick the box that says add to path. Once you have Python installed, open the program of your choosing, either VS Code or right-click on your desktop and open Terminal, so you can install a couple of libraries. To do that, type into the PowerShell or VS Code terminal, pip install bleak, and then hit enter. Then type pip install pyside2 and hit enter. I have left both of those written out in the description below. And I know this is an intimidating feat for those unfamiliar with code, so I will take any interested parties through this step by step at any time if you join a live stream over on Twitch and ask me to. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central. Alternatively, you may also reach out to me on my Discord if you join, verify yourself, and use the help channel. Okay? All right, moving along. Once you have those two libraries installed, you can open the NEEWER light python.py file using either VS Code, which I will leave a link for in the description below, or Windows PowerShell by right-clicking the file and selecting Open With whichever of those two applications you choose. You can also choose to run it with Python directly if you want to do that. And running that will open a GUI where you can link and control your lights manually, remotely, but still clicking buttons. It might also present a pop-up saying there is already an instance of it running, but just click launch anyway because that pop-up doesn't matter. This is just a first step that makes sure the program can see and control your lights. You might also want to use this to set up custom scenes for your lights if you run into issues with effect scenes or anything else through the HTTP server end of things. You can do that by right-clicking on a global preset and choosing the second button in from the left on the bottom, which is Save Custom Snap for all lights, or whatever that says, which you will then be able to trigger using Streamer.Bot Touch Portal or a Stream Deck using the HTTP requests that we're going to get into. There's a lot more that can be covered about the UI, but I'm going to stop here as the main point of this tutorial is to show you how you can use this to control your lights using Streamer.Bot and other things. So let's close the UI and move over to Streamer.Bot and continue to kick ass. Now, open up Streamer.Bot and go to the Actions tab, create a new action and name it Light Server. Set the group to lighting or NEEWER or something that works better or makes more sense for you. And then in the triggers section to the right, click and go to core and select test and then click OK. You can change how you trigger this later so that you can activate it by voice or hotkey or events or whatever you want. For now, just keep the test. Okay, cool. In the sub actions box, you are going to right click, go to core, hover over system and select run a program. In the command line, you need to set this to your install location of Python. It should have auto-installed to your AppData folder, so in the description below, I have left that path, and you can copy and paste it and just replace the username here with your actual username. Where it says working directory, you have to write in the install folder for NEEWER Lite. I have left a template for that in the description below as well, and you would just need to change the directory, like C drive, D drive, E drive, F drive, G drive, H drive, K drive. I'm just kidding. Letters. You know what I'm saying? And the folder where it's installed. Or if it isn't in another folder, just change the directory and then, it'd be :/NEEWER Lite -Python. In the arguments line, you need to place the NEEWER Lite python.py file with a couple of arguments that will cause it to launch the HTTP server and also ignore any prompts that it's already got an instance running. I wrote that whole line in the description below as well, so you can just copy and paste that without needing to change anything. After you get this all set, right-click and add a delay by going to core and clicking delay, and then set the delay to 500 and click OK. And then lastly, right-click and go to core, hover over network and select fetch URL, and then copy the fetch URL path from the description and paste that into the URL line in that sub action. And then where it says variable, just type in null, N-U-L-L, for no reason whatsoever other than you cannot do this without having a variable there, and null, it works, all right? This just is what it is. Also, important to note that if you have my credit roll set up or anything else using Streamer.Bot's WebSocket under servers/clients, you will need to change either the 8080 portion of that server or the 8080 of every URL that will be part of this in order for it to work. Otherwise, the two conflict with each other and neither will work. So I would suggest setting the Streamer.Bot WebSocket to 8585 and then changing it in anything else that uses it. That's my personal opinion. I think that's easier. Or change the 8080 in every URL herein to 8585. Okay, so every URL in this tutorial would then be 8585 instead of 8080. If that's at all confusing, you may leave me a comment below and just say, bruh. Now, make sure your lights are turned on, as is Bluetooth, on your PC, and you can right-click the test trigger and click test, and it should open your PowerShell terminal and launch the server, and then automatically start searching for and link your lights. If it does not find your lights, make sure you close the GUI so that your lights aren't connected to it, as they cannot be paired to two things at once. And if you click the link titled Launch HTTP Server from the description below, it will open a web interface on your browser of choosing where you can scan for the lights manually and see their connection status, as well as see any presets that you might have set up in the GUI. You should copy and paste that link into Streamer.Bot as a comment or save it as a text file on your computer somewhere so that you have it for future use. Or, you know, better yet, just save it as a, what are those things called that you save them? Bookmark. Save it as a bookmark. Yeah, deep breath. We're through all of the hard stuff that might have caused you stress, because anything regarding code can be quite stressful, even if it's just installing a couple of libraries or even just launching anything. I get it. I feel it. So, congratulations, and I'm sorry for doing this to you, but hey, you're a champion. You know what? Pat yourself on the back, because I'm sure this is going to be rough for you, or was rough for you, and you know, you should be proud of yourself for taking this on. So, pat, pat. The rest of what we are going to do is cover how to control different settings for your lights and set them to be triggered by Streamer.Bot. And to make it easier, there are templates for all of the control URLs in the description below. And all you'll need to do is change a couple of things, which will be easy to change. I've also left a link to the documentation on the HTTP server in the same section so that you may read it if you would like to. And now your breathing break is over. Let's do this. The first thing we're going to set up is an on command, because that just seems smart. So in the left side of the actions tab, right click and create a new action. Name it lights on. The group is lighting, or whatever you named the group already. And then just click OK. In the triggers area, again, right click and add a test trigger, you know, by going to core, clicking test. Now, copy the fetch URL sub action from the first action that we created, and then paste that into the lights on action. And then after where it says do action question mark in that URL, delete discover and type light equals 1 and on. All right, I'm gonna leave that in the description below with an explanation. If you only have one light, you just need to put the number 1. If you have multiple lights, you need to list them and separate them with semicolons. Or if you want all of the lights to do the same thing, you can use an asterisk, as that will tell it to control all lights. Alternatively, you can control your lights by typing in their MAC addresses. See why I'm going to leave all of that information in the description? Because that didn't make any sense to anybody. So it's in the description. Cool? Cool. Now, I also left this URL for the on control in the description below. So if instead of deleting and typing, you want to just copy paste, it's down there. Just make sure to change the 8080 to 8585 if you need to. Same with every single one of these going forward if you decided not to change the web server inside of Streamer.Bot. Now, duplicate that action and change the name to lights off. And then in the sub actions box, just double click the fetch URL and delete on and change it so that it says off. Now you can right click the trigger in this action and click test and your lights should turn off. And then you can click the first action, click the trigger for that, and they should turn on. Next, we're gonna set an action that sets the lights to CCT mode, and you can control the temperature and brightness of them. You can change the numbers in the URL as you desire, and I will explain what each number is for. Duplicate either the on or off action and change the name to CCT or temperature you will be setting the lights to. Keep the group name the same, and then click OK. Double click the fetch URL sub action and copy the CCT URL from the description below and paste that into the fetch URL sub actions URL. At the end of the URL, it says and mode equals CCT and temp equals 4200 and BRI equals 20. This is telling it to go into CCT mode with a color temperature of 4200 Kelvin and a brightness of 20. The two numbers you may want to change are the 4200 and the 20. If you know what color temperature you have your lights at regularly, just put that in place of the 4200. And depending on how far from your lights you are, or how much light your camera needs to look its best, change the brightness from anything between 1 and 100. And then you can right-click the test trigger and click test to see your lights change temperature and brightness. The next action will be one that puts your lights into RGB mode or HSI mode, as it is known. This will allow you to change the color and brightness of your lights. Duplicate the CCT action you just made and change the name to HSI. Or if you have a specific color in mind, name the action that color. Copy the HSI URL from the description below and paste that into the fetch URL subactions URL line. And then where it says HSI and hue equals, you will change that number to change the color of the light or lights. You can either play around with it to find your color or look up hue color codes online somewhere. It's a range from 0 to 360 degrees. It uses a wheel. 0 and 360 are red, and then, you know, colors. I think 88 is green, 270 is like purple or something. You just play around with it. You'll find a color that you like. I promise. Or like I said, look them up online. That goes pretty quickly. Where it says sat equals 100, you can set this between 1 and 100 to change the intensity or brilliance of the color that you have chosen. The last number after BRI is the brightness, obviously, and you can change this to anything from 1 to 100 again for your desired brightness level. And then right-click the test trigger and click test to see the changes as you make them. So as you're changing the number to try and find a color you like, every time you do it, you can click that test trigger to see what color you just set it to, if you're not sure. Now keep in mind, if your lights are wireless, like mine, the brighter your lights are, the faster the battery will be depleted. The last example is for choosing preset scenes that you have programmed into the GUI so that you can use the FX scenes your lights have, or set a different color to each light so it'll simultaneously change them to 2 different colors, because I haven't figured out how to do that yet without using a preset. So that's how we gonna do that. Anyway, Duplicate the HSI action and change the name to preset 1. The name of the effect, or something that makes sense for what the preset actually does. And then grab the preset URL from the description below and paste that into the fetch URL subactions URL. This one is very simple. All you want to change is the number at the end to reflect the number of the preset that you are going to be using. Right-click the test trigger and click test so you can see your changes as you make them. Now you can go through and duplicate any or all of these sub-actions and actions that you've created and make different colors, different presets, different color temperatures, different brightness levels, whatever you want, and just change the names so that you know which is which, and any of the numbers in the URLs to create those different things like effects, colors, temperatures. And then, you can just play around with the triggers too. You're also going to notice that in the description below, as you're looking for things, there is a URL for scenes/animations. That is actually the URL that will put your lights into scene modes like lightning, camera flash, police lights. But it's still being tested by me and worked on as I'm recording this, so I'm not covering it in this video. But you can play around with it if you would like to, or pop into a stream or Discord and ask me in a few weeks if I've figured it out. I'm doing what I can when I can. It's just trying to figure out the URLs to control it at this point it's confusing the hell out of me, man. Once you have everything set up the way you want it to be and have all of the settings you could ever desire set up, you can go into each action and, like I said, in the triggers box, add triggers to each of these things that automate them to trigger based on different criteria. For example, I have my server triggered by a voice command, so if I say lighting, it automatically runs the HTTP server and searches for my lights. I have a voice command set to turn my lights on and off, as well as a trigger to turn my lights on when I start streaming. I have different colors set to trigger with different events like follows, subs, cheers, tips, as well as different effects set to trigger on raids, hype trains, heart rate events using hype rate, and more. The options for this are limited only by your imagination and, well, what the lights can do. Don't expect them to put a bat signal into the sky. Unless... No, that's not happening. I know this might have been a very daunting task to undertake, and like I said, I'm really proud of you for making the journey with me. I hope everything worked out and was successful. If it was not, please reach out to me in the comments section below, on my Discord in the help channel, or by coming to a live stream where I can visually walk you through things one-on-one live. Again, I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central. If everything did work out for you and you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. And for more tutorials on all things Streamer.Bot, OBS, and other stream things, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Only 7% of my viewers are subscribed right now, and that makes my cat sad. Make my cat happy. I'm really pushing to hit 1,000 subs this year, and it would mean a lot to me to hit that goal. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for your help and support. For the last time, I'm proud of you for making the effort to set this up, thankful for your time, and I really hope to see you in the next video. As always, take care, stay safe.